Have you ever noticed that after eating a meal you used to enjoy, maybe a nice grilled steak or a roast chicken dinner, you don't feel quite as energized as you once did? Maybe you feel heavy, a little bloated, or even just tired. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people over 60 find that their favorite foods just don't sit the same way they used to. And here's the thing, it's not necessarily the meat itself that's the problem. It's how we're eating it. There's a common mistake many of us make with meat every single day, and it's quietly affecting everything from our digestion and energy to muscle health and even our heart. When we're younger, we can get away with more. Our metabolism runs a little faster, our gut is more forgiving, and our body recovers quickly. But as we age, what we put on our plate matters more than ever. And meat, something many of us have eaten for decades, is one of the most misunderstood parts of the senior diet. Let's talk about what's actually going on. You see, the body needs protein to maintain muscle mass, especially after the age of 60. But not all protein is created equal, and not all meat is doing your body good. In fact, the most common mistake I see? Eating processed or fatty cuts of meat on a daily basis, thinking it's a healthy source of protein. Things like deli meats, bacon, sausages, and even certain cuts of beef that are high in saturated fat may be convenient and flavorful, but they're also loaded with sodium, preservatives, and unhealthy fats. These types of meats can slowly wear down your cardiovascular system, raise your blood pressure, and even make your joints feel stiffer over time. And the tricky part? You might not feel the effects immediately. It's a slow build. You feel a bit more tired after meals. You might have a little more inflammation in your knees. Maybe your digestion feels sluggish, or your weight starts creeping up even though your portions haven't changed. I once spoke to a man named Jerry, he's 72, and had always prided himself on his meat and potatoes lifestyle. Every day for lunch, he'd make a sandwich with salami or ham. Dinner was usually a pan-fried pork chop or beef burger. He wasn't doing anything unusual, just sticking with what he grew up with. But over time, he noticed his energy dipping, his blood pressure rising, and his doctor mentioned early signs of kidney strain. It wasn't until Jerry swapped out his processed meats for leaner, cleaner options, like grilled chicken breast, turkey, and the occasional piece of salmon, that things started to shift. Within a couple of months, he felt more energized after meals. He lost a few pounds without even trying, and his blood pressure readings? They finally started to improve. It's not about cutting meat out of your life completely. For many of us, meat is comfort. It's cultural. It's how we connect around the dinner table. The goal isn't to take that away. It's to make smarter choices about which meats, how often, and how they're prepared. The first thing to start noticing is how often processed meats sneak into your meals. That sandwich meat? That quick breakfast sausage? Even some grilled chicken options at restaurants are injected with sodium to boost flavor. If it comes in a plastic package, has a long ingredient list, or is labeled smoked, cured, or flavored, chances are it's doing more harm than good. So what can you do instead? Start small. One of the easiest changes is to replace your processed lunch meat with fresh roasted chicken breast or turkey. You can slice it yourself or ask the butcher for plain, unseasoned cuts. If you're making burgers at home, choose lean ground turkey or beef with minimal fat content and cook it on a grill or in the oven instead of pan-frying it in oil. And maybe once or twice a week, you try a meatless meal with beans, lentils, or eggs. Your body might thank you with better digestion and less inflammation. Just like that, you've already begun moving in the right direction. Because the truth is, aging isn't about avoiding things. It's about making smarter, more nourishing choices that give back to your body instead of taking from it. And meat, when chosen wisely, can still be part of a vibrant, strong, independent life after 60. Now I know change can feel uncomfortable, especially when it involves what we eat every day. For many of us, food is tradition, it's comfort, it's part of our identity. But here's what's empowering. The small choices we make at each meal can truly shape how we feel every day. And once we start noticing those changes, more energy, easier digestion, better sleep, it becomes easier to keep going. Let's talk a little more about why processed and fatty meats are so tricky for the body after 60. As we age, our kidneys don't filter as efficiently, and our heart might not be as strong as it once was. Processed meats, think pepperoni, bacon, hot dogs, are often packed with sodium nitrates and preservatives. These substances don't just raise blood pressure. They can damage blood vessels over time, making your heart work harder than it needs to. And for those managing diabetes, which is more common after 60, these meats can quietly wreak havoc. They may not contain sugar, but they increase inflammation, slow circulation, and strain your pancreas. That tired, foggy feeling you get after a heavy meat meal, that's your body waving a red flag. But here's the good news. Your body is still incredibly responsive, even after 60. In fact, studies show that seniors who reduce processed meat consumption and swap in lean protein just a few times a week can lower their risk of heart disease and preserve muscle mass more effectively. One of my favorite stories comes from a woman named Maria. She's 68, living on her own and fiercely independent. But she noticed that simple tasks, getting up from the couch, opening jars, even carrying groceries, were starting to feel harder. Her diet? Mostly frozen meals and lots of deli meat for convenience. With a little encouragement from her daughter, Maria started batch cooking lean proteins on Sundays. She'd roast a few chicken breasts, grill some fish, and hard-boil eggs to keep in the fridge. Within weeks, her energy started to shift. She felt steadier on her feet, her digestion improved, and she wasn't reaching for antacids after lunch anymore. That's the power of clean protein. When you feed your muscles and organs what they actually need, your whole body thanks you. Now, I want to be clear, fat isn't the enemy. Your body needs healthy fats, especially for hormone balance and brain health. But the type of fat matters. Instead of greasy sausages or deep-fried meats, opt for proteins that bring omega-3s to the table. Salmon is a top choice. It's rich in anti-inflammatory fats, easy to digest, and surprisingly versatile. You can bake it, flake it into salads, or enjoy it with roasted veggies for a simple dinner that fuels your body instead of slowing it down. And don't underestimate the power of herbs and spices. When people cut back on processed meat, they often say, "But it doesn't taste as good." That's only because we're used to the artificial flavors. Real food, seasoned with garlic, rosemary, turmeric, or even lemon, can be just as flavorful and a lot gentler on your system. There's also another trap many seniors fall into, thinking they need less protein overall. But in reality, after 60, your protein needs actually go up. Why? Because we lose muscle more quickly as we age. And without enough high-quality protein to rebuild and repair tissue, that muscle loss accelerates. It's called sarcopenia, the gradual decline in muscle mass. And you know where it starts? In the kitchen. If your daily meat intake is coming from low-quality, heavily processed sources, your body may not even be absorbing the amino acids it needs. But swap in a grilled chicken breast, a piece of baked salmon, a handful of lentils, or even Greek yogurt with nuts, and suddenly your muscles are getting the fuel they need to keep you strong and independent. Just imagine waking up with more energy, getting out of a chair without wincing, or walking a little farther each day without feeling winded. That's not just a dream. It's what happens when your body is nourished with intention. And if all of this feels like a lot, start with one change. Replace that breakfast sausage with an egg and some avocado. Try a turkey burger instead of a beef one. Or even better, try going meatless once a week with beans and rice, quinoa and veggies, or a hearty lentil soup. Your body is constantly renewing itself, and every smart swap you make builds a better tomorrow. Because the real mistake isn't just eating the wrong meat. It's thinking that change won't make a difference. But it does. It absolutely does. And the sooner we start listening to what our bodies are telling us, the sooner we get back to living with more energy, more clarity, and more control over our own health. Let's take a moment and really sit with this truth. your body is still capable of thriving. It's still capable of healing. And sometimes the most powerful shift doesn't come from a pill bottle. It comes from what's on your plate. One of the biggest myths I hear is that once you reach a certain age, your habits are locked in. That change is too hard. But I've seen the opposite. I've seen people in their 70s, even 80s, make a single change, like cutting back on processed meats. And suddenly, they're walking a little taller, breathing a little easier, and feeling more in charge of their day. And it's not just about the physical health either. There's a mental shift that happens when you choose better foods, when you prepare a piece of grilled fish or enjoy a salad with roasted chicken. There's a quiet sense of pride. You're not just feeding your body, you're respecting it. You're saying, I still matter, my health still matters. But I also know that this change needs to be sustainable. We're not here to give up everything you enjoy or live on boiled vegetables and plain chicken forever. No one wants that. What we do want is balance. And the way to find it is through a few key practices. Start by asking yourself this: how does my body feel after I eat? Not just full, but energized, heavy, tired, light. Your body is wiser than you think. If that salty ham sandwich makes you feel sluggish afterward, that's information. If that slow-cooked turkey dinner helps you sleep better at night, that's information too. Listening to your body becomes your guide, not trends, not fads, just you, tuning in. And remember, what you add can be just as powerful as what you remove. Adding more hydration, adding more fiber from vegetables or legumes, adding in those lean, clean proteins we've talked about. Because when you support your body, it begins to support you right back. You'll feel it in your steps, in your digestion, in your ability to carry that grocery bag or climb the stairs without needing to rest halfway. Even something as simple as cooking at home a bit more often can shift the whole picture. When you're the one choosing the ingredients, picking lean meats, using olive oil instead of butter, seasoning with herbs instead of salt, you regain a bit of control over your well-being. And that kind of empowerment adds up fast. And I'll be honest, none of this is about being perfect. You're going to have days where you grab what's easy or treat yourself to something you know isn't ideal. That's life. That's normal. What matters most is what you do consistently. If the everyday habit is reaching for that bacon or packaged lunch meat because it's quick, then yes, it's silently doing harm. But if you flip that habit, if the default becomes fresh, whole, nourishing meat, or even a meatless dish now and then, you're writing a different story for your health. Because aging isn't about shrinking down or giving up. It's about protecting the freedom to move, to think clearly, to live independently and joyfully. And your food choices, especially your meat choices, play a much bigger role in that than most people realize. So if you're over 60 and wondering whether your daily meat habits are helping or harming you, the answer is, it depends on the meat. But more importantly, it depends on you, your choices, your awareness, and your willingness to give your body what it truly needs. And just by watching this video, by being curious, by wanting to do better, you're already halfway there. So here's to more clarity, more strength, and more mornings where you wake up feeling good in your own body. You've got this. Remember, your best years don't have to be behind you. They can still be right in front of you.